Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for turning out today on this beautiful Welsh afternoon. Travelled down today. It's a pleasure to be back, it really is. I think any time that you return to a city that loves their boxing and is pleased to see you, it's always nice. You know, we see it in Newcastle on April the 4th. Fans now really embracing that city as a regular stop on the Sky Sports calendar. And I think there's no reason why Cardiff can't do the same. 6 years actually since we've been to the Motorpoint Arena. It's much too long. You know, since then, Joe has boxed at the ice rink, and of course Anthony Joshua has boxed twice at the Millennium Stadium, but there's no reason why the International Arena in Cardiff shouldn't be a regular stop on our schedule. Obviously that schedule, since we came 6 years ago, you headlined that card 6 years ago. Anthony Joshua boxed on that card, I believe, against Dorian Darch. And look where he's gone, obviously, since then. And I think returning now, we've got so many great fights on the card. I think the timing is perfect for us on May the 9th to return. Of course, live on Sky Sports and also on DAZN across America as well. It's a big card, big night of boxing. Of course, particularly for the headline fight in Lee Selby. Great fight against George Cambosos. I mean, if you don't know George Cambosos, go and watch him. Lightning fast hand speed. Great power. We excused him from travelling over from Australia for this fight today. He's deep in camp now and going to be flying to Miami as well before he flies over here. But this is such an important fight for the career of Lee Selby. You know, great champion at featherweight. Remember, saw actually on Sky, they replayed the other night that great fight against Yevgeny Gradovich when he won the world title at the O2. Went out, defended his championship in America, now moves up 2 weight divisions and just has to win this fight to be guaranteed another shot at the IBF Lightweight World Championship. Of course, at the moment, he will be the mandatory challenger for the winner of Vasily Lomachenko against Teofimo Lopez, which is one of the biggest fights in world boxing. Whether that champion stays there for Lee Selby, we hope so, but this is a massive fight for his career and an opportunity to try and become a 2-weight world champion if he can beat Cambosos on May the 9th. This young man to my left, honestly, one of the most exciting, I don't think we can call you a prospect anymore, prospect in world boxing. I saw Joe Cordina fight many years ago at the York Hall in the Tri-Nations event with GB and Wales, and I knew he had something very, very special. As a pro, I think he's been absolutely faultless, and to be honest, I don't think he's probably got the accolades yet that he deserves. Keeps himself to himself, works very hard, great partnership with Tony Sims, great team down here in Wales as well. And I'm convinced this man will be a world champion. I was so pleased to see him move back down to super featherweight from lightweight. I think that is his natural weight class. But look at what he did at lightweight. You know, moved up, won the Commonwealth, won the British, won the WBA International, and then stepped back down to 130 pounds to fight Enrique Tinoco last time out in Monaco. You saw Tinoco stop Jordan Gill. Very, very tough fight. Brilliant performance, brilliant performance. He has all the skills, all the attributes to go and become world champion. His opponent will be announced this week, and the names that we're looking at, you're going to be nicely impressed. I believe, and again, this is something I'm guided on by Tony Sims and Joe and the team, I believe he can fight for a world title in 2020. I don't see any reason why not. You look at the division right now, some great fights out there for him. Jamel Herring, I'd fancy him to win that fight now. Jojo Diaz just beat Tevin Farmer. Miguel Burchelt, very difficult fight for the WBC title. They are all there for Joe Cordina. And this fight on May the 9th is going to take him to that point, I believe, in 2020 at the end of the year where he can be looking at challenging for world titles. Other 2 fights up here we'll talk about shortly. And there's plenty more on the card as well that isn't here today in terms of Welsh talent. But 3 important fighters on the bottom table. Sean McGoldrick, of course, one of the most popular fighters in Wales, former Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Disappointing defeat last time out, which I think shocked us all, and Sean as well. I know he's going to work hard to come back from that, and I believe he will be challenging for titles this year. We expected him to beat Asomba. I think he did, and I think he learned a lot from that fight as well. And you see Asomba go on and have another great victory recently as well. He's a great fighter. John Doherty, another Commonwealth Games medalist. The Doc, he's a brutal, brutal performer. Super middleweight, just wants to take everybody's head off and doesn't stop doing it. Knockout after knockout. Really have to start moving him forward now into big fights in 2020. And Jamie Cox, who I just saw for the first time in probably a year down there, who's as handsome as ever, isn't he? How depressing is it that as he keeps getting older, he keeps getting better looking, Jamie Cox. A lot of people have talked about Jamie Cox forever as one of the best talents they've seen through the amateur game and coming through. We were managed to pick him up a couple of years ago, boxed at the Kell Brook Errol Spence card, and then got the golden ticket into the World Boxing Super Series. Had a great fight with George Groves, lost that, and since then, a few injuries, few illnesses, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back on May the 9th. I think this is going to be an interesting year where he needs just one little run out, and then he's ready to go. Two other important fights up here on the top table. Firstly, Nathan Thorley challenging for the Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship against Chris Billam-Smith. I think domestically, a perfect division right now. Chris Billam-Smith, like I said, just won the Commonwealth Championship. You got Richard Riakporhe, the British champion. You got Dion Juma. You got Tommy McCarthy about to challenge for the European title. And you got Lawrence Okoli about to fight for the WBO World Cruiserweight Championship against Krzysztof Glowacki in May or June of this year. This is a great fight. Great opportunity for Nathan Thorley, and fair play to Chris Billam-Smith, who comes into the backyard, if you like, coming into Wales to defend his title. Great lightweight fight. You know, Gavin Gwynne, he's sitting next to Joe Cordina now, but these two shared the ring in the British lightweight title clash. Great fight. Gavin Gwynne, plenty of heart, tough as they come. I think he's going to get better and better. And James Tennyson down on the right. Tough fight for Gavin Gwynne, because I think this is one of the most fearsome punchers at 135 pounds in world boxing right now. We saw him at 130 pounds win titles, stop Martin Ward to win the European title as well, travelled to Boston to fight Tevin Farmer for the IBF world title, but you could tell on the scales leading up to the fight just how weak he was at 130 pounds. To see him at 135, I think he's very dangerous. This one for the vacant British lightweight title, but Gavin Gwynne has got all the support coming in from Cardiff and Wales, and a big opportunity for him to become British champion. So this is one of the best cards I believe we've seen so far in Wales, and particularly at the International Centre, and I think it's going to be a great show on May the 9th. I'm going to start talking to some of the fighters now. Jamie, with you first. Been a long time. I wasn't sure if sometimes whether you'd be back, teamed up with Tony Borg now and refreshed. Looking forward to go on May the 9th.
Yeah, looking forward to coming out. Coming back to boxing, and teamed up with Tony Borg down in Newport. Really working hard down there, and yeah, I was out for a bit. Just had a new a baby, so yeah, spent a bit of time out, and looking to go again, and hopefully get down to middleweight and get some fights there, because maybe I'm a little bit smaller super middleweight.
Obviously, light middleweight was your original weight class. You moved up to middle and then super middle quite quickly as well. How do you feel now, having experienced all of that within the divisions? Where do you see your future line, and what weight class?
Yeah, I think I got away with pretty much eating, not being top heavy at the weight. Super middleweight, I was very small, but I got away with eating what I wanted, and I was quite strong at the weight. But then on the fight night, they rehydrate a lot bigger than me. So if I can get to middleweight, I've got a nutritionist on board now. So I think that will be a good mediocre weight for me to be at.
We look forward to seeing you back in action. Jamie, John, another first round knockout last time out. We just can't find people to give you rounds. Going to step up the opposition on May the 9th. I know you want that. I know Tony Sims wants that. And extend the rounds as well, and try and find someone that can last the pace with you.
Yeah, obviously got a step up in 8 rounds, and we're looking for a step up opponent. I've been wanting it for my last few fights, but obviously it's up to Tony and my team, and once I do get a step up an opponent, you'll see the best John Doherty.
One thing I've seen is your confidence now and your momentum of knocking all these guys out. How important is it not to get carried away with that as the opposition starts to increase?
Yeah, I'm very confident in my ability. I just got to listen to Tony Sims all the time. I'm sparring with John Ryder, Felix Cash. I know what level I'm at, that's the thing, and I know when I do step up and fight somebody half decent what's going to give me rounds, you're going to see the best John Doherty, and hopefully more knockouts.
Sean, important run of fights coming up from you. Obviously last time out in Liverpool, disappointment against Asombra. I'm sure you put that behind you now, and you move on for a very important stage of your career. with the fights coming up and also, of course, May the 9th as well.
Yeah, my last fight, I was disappointed in myself, disappointed in my performance, but now I'm fully focused on improving and moving forward and looking forward to an exciting year. Just wanted to say thank you as well to Eddie Hearn, Matt from Boxing, MTK, just for keeping the faith in me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a good year.
Obviously, that was a step up for you at the time, and they say that you learn so much more from your defeats that you do from the victory. What did that teach you about yourself and what needs to be done?
Yeah, you sort of learn a lot when you lose, but yeah, it was good. You know, it wasn't a good learning experience at the time, but now looking at the positives from it, yeah, you know, it was a blessing in disguise, I think.
Look forward to seeing you back in action May the 9th. Big year for you. Nathan Thorley, welcome. Big opportunity for you. Gary Lockett's told us plenty about you. You got this shot in Wales and a great fight lined up with Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah, well, Gary gave me the call, so I said yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I know Chris is a good fighter. I'm fighting Saturday, so this fight's kind of at the back of my mind at the moment. But I am looking forward to May the 9th and meeting Chris in that square circle.
Obviously, great amateur career for yourself, and the division at the moment domestically probably stronger than it's ever been. So many massive opportunities, especially if you can take this one on May the 9th.
Yeah, the division is massive at the moment. It never used to be, but now there's plenty of fights out there for me that I want to take and will take.
Chris, you've been a classic. Have gloves, will travel. Last year or so, been great working with you. Of course, you went up to Liverpool to beat the Liverpudlian Craig Glover in his backyard to win the Commonwealth title. Now you're in Wales against Nathan Thorley. You don't mind, you don't care, just ready to fight, and this should be a great fight for you for the first defence.
Yeah, obviously thanks for getting this fight, and thanks to Nathan for taking the fight. As you know, a few people wouldn't take the fight. I'm looking forward to it. It's obviously I've travelled to Liverpool and beat Craig Glover in his backyard, and I've got to do it again against a great Welshman. Obviously he's 14-0. You can just look at this table to see how much talent the Welsh can produce, and go back through the years through as far as Barry Jones, Steve Robinson, Joe Calzaghe, Matt Cronelli, all those sort of fighters, and then you've got the talent here as well. So there's no overlooking Nathan Thorley. He may not be well known, but it's a massive opportunity for him, and I've been in that position against Richard Riakporhe, and I know how hungry that you can be in that position. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to prepare diligently for it.
You lost a close fight against Richard Riakporhe, and when we talk about Sean McGoldrick suffering that defeat, what's your message to those fighters? Because your career really, since that defeat, has gone from strength to strength. Some fighters are afraid to lose that O, but you jumped in a 50-50 fight in a decision that could have gone either way. But since then, have just come out, won TV fights, won championships, and now in a great position.
Yeah, it's you're in a sport to achieve things, and if I'd gone away and boxed in 6 rounders back home in Bournemouth on non-televised shows, that's not why you do it as a kid, and not what you dream of as an amateur. So to then go and be the main support for Callum Smith against a Liverpudlian in his backyard for a Commonwealth title, you can't miss opportunities like that. And I train hard, and as always, to make sure I was prepared for that opportunity, and thankfully, I took it, and here we are now.
Great fight. Chris Billam-Smith against Nathan Thorley, Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship. Move on to the British Lightweight title. Gavin, again, a fight that was ordered by the British Boxing Board of Control when Joe confirmed his move down to super featherweight. Another great opportunity for you. Brilliant fight last time out with Joe. Must have been a big experience for you at the O2, and this venue a little bit smaller, a lot closer to home. Big opportunity in your career.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank yourself and obviously Matchroom for giving me the opportunity, and yeah, it was a brilliant experience fighting at the O2 and fighting against Joe. I took a lot of positives from it, and I know come May the 9th now I'll put all the wrongs right, and I'll be bringing that belt home back to the Valleys. Obviously
this time out James Tennyson, Joe Cordina, renowned for his boxing skill. James Tennyson, renowned for his power as well. You like to come forward. It's going to be a cracking fight.
yeah, this got a war written all over it, and I don't like to take a backward step. I know Tennyson just comes forward like so, but I know he's a massive puncher, and I got to use my boxing ability. Obviously with Joe, it was a totally different fight. I had to go forward. He's a lot quicker, but Tennyson holds his feet and just likes to bang away like so.
James, obviously you've held titles before at super featherweight, now up at lightweight, vacant British title, a chance to become a two-weight champion as well. Big important fight for your career.
Yeah, massive fight for my career. You know, Gav's a real tough lad. You know, we're both two come-forward fighters, and I believe our styles are going to clash, and it's going to make a good war. And you know, for me, I feel this is a must-win fight for me, and you know, I'll be ready come fighting it.
People talk about your power. You had power at super featherweight, but you know, you're now people talk about as one of the biggest punchers in the division right now. Do you feel that power much more in this new weight class?
Sort of, yeah. You know, it's more not cutting them extra few pounds isn't really, it's not killing my performance. You know, I'm a lot stronger and half out the weight, which it makes a big difference.
Obviously challenge for a world title against Tevin Farmer in Boston. Is that where you want to go at 135 pound? Obviously not looking past GWYNNE, but we know you've got aspirations to challenge for another world championship this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like you say, you can't look past Gav. He's a big tough guy, but down the lane, you know, that's what I'm aiming for. Get this win out of the way, and, you know, and I can start pushing on and start chasing down a shot of the world title.
Tennyson against GWYNNE, British lightweight championship. Move to Joe Cordina. Joey, I think you know some of the names we're looking at. I don't know if you talked to Charlie and Tony. I was on the phone to them last night, very close to getting something nailed down. Great to be boxing back in Cardiff. You headlined a Next Gen show here. You boxed on the undercards of AJ as well. But this is now the absolute crunch times of your career.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you everyone for turning up, and that's on behalf of us all. Thanks to Eddie, Matchroom, Sky for bringing another show back to Cardiff. But yeah, like you said, some of the names that's been chucked in the hat, they're no easy run. I'm looking to push on for a world title at the end of this year or maybe next year. So yeah, it's about time now I step up to the plate, and what I believe in myself and what Tony does, and hopefully you do. Yeah, and get some of these big names under my belt. So for me, like you said, they're very, very tasty, and if one of them do come off, then everyone's in for a real treat. And I've boxed in Cardiff three times before. Yeah, 3 times before. Mainly on the undercards of AJ. So yeah, the light ain't on the undercard, it's on the main event. But I think most of the fights on this card is going to be very, very exciting, and it'll be a treat for everyone. Yeah,
first fight for you at the Cardiff International Arena. One thing I've noticed about you, Joe, working very hard behind closed doors. I mean, you're young, you're successful, you've got championships, you're a good-looking kid, but you keep a low profile. You've got a very solid family life, obviously work very hard with Tony Sims as well. How important is that to you to stay focused and not sort of live this lifestyle that might distract you in a very important moments of your career?
For me, it's not about the things that are outside of boxing, like the partying and all the other things that come along with when people see you on TV. A lot of people get sucked into that hype. I don't. I stay at home with my family, my 2 kids. I stick around with the same people, and mainly they're all my family, and a lot of them are here today. But yeah, I keep myself to myself. So as you know, I don't really post on social media where I'm calling people out and going down that route. I'd rather stay under the radar, and there's no pressure on me then. And then when I do decide and put on performances like my last couple of fights, then everyone starts to talk about it. But yeah, I'm not one of them people that sort of goes out and starts calling people out on social media or going on flashing certain things. So yeah, I just, like you said, stay under the radar, and then I'll burst onto the scene.
We do know though you do believe in your ability. Where do you feel and how far do you feel you are away from those guys right now? The Jojo Diaz's, the Jamel Herrings, the Carl Framptons, the John O'Carrolls, you know, good win for him at the weekend. You're quietly looking at those guys in the distance, feeling that their time is coming.
Yeah, of course. All the names you just named, I think on today I can beat them right now. But at the same time, I haven't had the world level experience that some of these fighters have had. But they'll be coming. My next fight, if one of them names comes off, then we'll see where we are, and then obviously I can't look past these fighters, but I want to be fighting for a world title either the end of this year or start or to the middle of 2021. But like I said, I can't look past these fighters and the couple of the names we've spoke about and we've asked for, and if one of them comes off, then that's what I gotta focus on, not the future fights. And if I get a world title shot, I gotta focus on the moment, and the moment is now.
Well, it's going to be a big night for you, May the 9th. 3 big fights for you scheduled for this year. One of those at the end could even be a world championship shot. Lee Selby, a world championship shot sits between you and George CAMBOSOS Jr. I kind of feel a little bit sorry for you in this fight, because no one's, George CAMBOSOS, not the name that people rate. He's not a Jorge Linares, but he's very, very dangerous. I've watched him for a number of years now. He's an excellent fighter. He's all action. He's got a big heart. He throws plenty of punches. He can punch as well. This is a very, very dangerous fight.
It's a big fight, but first of all, I don't need feeling sorry for any fight. I'm glad to be back here in Cardiff, fighting in Wales. The Welsh fans they've been crying out for big time boxing back in Wales. Now I'm glad and I'm proud to be the man to bring it back. I've got a tough task ahead of me. George CAMBOSOS Jr. He's a very good fighter, unbeaten. In maybe 18 fights, he can punch, he can box. He's a pressure fighter, but I think he's the 7th unbeaten fighter I've boxed in my career, and the 3rd Australian, and I beat both of those. And yet the one Australian, Joe Bronca, I boxed him in a final eliminator for the IBF heavyweight title. So it's a similar sort of scenario. And I've shared the ring with CAMBOSOS Jr. in the wild card in Los Angeles. We spared a few rounds. He's a good fighter. But in those couple of rounds, I took enough to know what I got to do in the fight to beat him.
He is fearless. He's young. He's going to be giving absolutely everything. Do you think that experience plays a key part here? You've done it all. You've boxed in final eliminators. You've won domestic titles. You've won world championships. You've gone into backyards. You've defended it in America. Is that important in this fight, to stay focused and try and be disciplined in the fight and probably control the pace of the fight as well?
Yeah, that's one thing I have got over George CAMBOSOS, is experience. He's had 18 fights. I've had maybe 17 or 18 title fights. So I have a wealth of experience. I've had 6 world title fights. So that's what I'm hoping to bring into the fight. And I'm hoping that's going to help me win.
And obviously, beyond that, you will become the mandatory to the Lomachenko-Lopez winner. We don't know if they'll stay in the division, but what a fight that would be, what a chance that would be to be involved in a mega fight for yourself.
That'd be a massive fight. I know I'd be a big underdog against each of those fighters, but I believe I got in me to beat anybody. If I can box to the best of my ability on the night, I think I can hold on with anyone and beat them.
Up at 135 pounds, I watched you in many, many fights just go through a horrible process to make 126 pounds.
I remember you asking me if I struggle to make the weight, I'd just keep a straight face.
But all fighters do. How's your weight? Perfect.
It's like a fight. If you give in to the weight, my mentality is like the winning fighter mentality. If I give in to the weight, I've lost the fight.
But you skip the 130, go to 135. How does that feel for you right now in your training, in your everyday lifestyle? The perfect weight division for you right now?
I think so. And I believe I should have been a lightweight a lot earlier in my career. After winning the world title and defending it, that's when I think I should have stepped up to super heavyweight and then up to lightweight. But there was always those big fights looming, and like being a champion, that's the last thing you want to do is like give up the title. I'd rather lose than win.
And obviously coming through, you boxed at the International Arena over 6 years ago, and you're boxing inside out.
Yeah.
So many big fights for important Welsh talent on this card as well. Bounce back for Sean McGoldrick, Joe Cordina as well, Nathan Thorley, Gavin Gwynne. Yeah. Big night for Welsh boxing.
So I've experienced everything these boys are going through. I've suffered a loss just like Sean. I've done the right things, starting off my career like Joe, winning the British Commonwealth, then the European. And so I've been in a big domestic fight like Gavin Gwynne and TENNYSON. So I've experienced everything. And that's it. I'm like an OG in a boxing sport, I've seen it, I've been there and done it.
The OG of British boxing and Welsh boxing, Lee Selby. Selby against CAMBOSOS is a great fight. This is a wonderful card. More to be added as well, announced. And May the 9th, Cardiff Arena. We expect to see you there in your numbers. I think it's going to fill up very quickly, even from the tickets just that the fighters have ordered. We haven't got many left at the box office already. Make sure you spread the word. It's important that you fill this place up. It's important that you give us a great atmosphere, not just for Matchroom and the fighters, but for the TV companies around the world that are going to be watching this big night of boxing in Cardiff. So it's a pleasure to be back. We look forward to a huge night on May the 9th. We're going to have head-to-heads up here now with the 4 guys and also pictures with the others as well. Everyone available for the media as well. And we look forward to a huge night on May the 9th. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Guys, gents in the middle, can you sit down? You're blocking the Sky cameras for me, please.
Gavin.